when Bubba was sent to the UWF, who told you? Please tell a Bubba story. P.S. Fuck Tony Gurria and a proud member of the 605 and blocked by the Hangman.
Jesus Christ. Y'all have all these gang signs and symbols and sayings and things.
Yeah, we had a few.
I think they're going to have to, the federal government's going to have to start investigating you after they investigate the insane clown posse for being some kind of organization, unsavory people. What Dusty told us, and obviously, I talked to Bubba about it because he was getting a chance. Dusty had seen big things in Bubba from the beginning, and that's why he put that gimmick on him, and that's why he worked his first program with him, and that's why he kept him so strong. And when they bought the UWF, and I think that's when Teddy DiBiase left, and so they needed some other top guys, and we can litigate all day long whether or not they handled the UWF talent roster, but that's not correctly, but that's not the question we're talking about here. But he wanted to take Bubba in as a top singles guy. Now that he kind of had because remember, Bubba had only been working about a year, probably at that point, a little over a year and a half. But he wanted to give him a big break, and we were happy about it, and Bubba was excited about it. And the only reason I was upset was because, oh God, he's so good, and he's so good with us, and our gimmick is so great. But I wasn't going to, argue, oh no, Dusty, don't send Bubba to new territory you're trying to get, kick-started and put him in a main event heel position. That would have been ridiculous. So we were happy about it. And I think I don't remember how long he was there, but like 6 or 9 months when they decided to, to fold the talent roster back together, and we got him back. And then, maybe might not even been 6 months. And then basically the reason why he chose to explore greener pastures, don't you?
Why was that?
At Starrcade 87, we had the scaffold match with the Rock and Roll Express, which that was shoehorned on. The scaffold match at Starrcade 86 with the Road Warriors drew that house in large part. It was the ultimate match with the Road Warriors. It's the thing everybody remembers. We more than earned our money that night. In Starrcade 87, it was basically a scaffold match with the Midnight and the Rock and Roll after our peak of our program, just because it's the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express and scaffold. It's the most interesting thing they could come up with for us to do, but what didn't allow us to have a great match, as I believe I mentioned. So, but at least we did it, and we got $10,000 apiece, except for Bubba, who the closing, since I wasn't going to climb that motherfucker again, the closing spot was that Bubba would go up there and menace Ricky, and people were going to think Bubba's going to throw Ricky off, and Ricky would fucking punch Bubba in the nuts and scurry away. But Bubba gets his check, and he only gets $5,000. Well, he climbed the fucking thing too, and he was the biggest one of the bunch of us. And Bobby and Dennis once again took the fucking bump, or normal. Actually, no, it was Bobby and Stan by then. Excuse me.
Yeah. So
Stan got the honors. But anyway, everybody in the match should have got the same thing, and because everybody was working together, and he got half the money. That's what he decided. If Jim Crockett had just given him $5,000 more, he wouldn't have made the phone call to see if there was interest elsewhere and would have stayed there with us.
Fantasy booking now, when you do the Midnight versus Midnight angle and feud, what do you think Bubba's role would have been if he had stayed?
Oh, God, I mean, eventually he would have either been a top singles heel and still in our group, as much as me managing him, maybe break him away from being ringside with the Midnight, because Dusty eventually would have elevated him into being a bigger single star than maybe needed to be at ringside with the Midnight all the time. I might still have managed him, probably, because the one thing we'd established is that he didn't talk, and it worked that way. But he would have been a top single heel that would have been working with Dusty and whoever was in his Magnum spot or Barry Windham spot or Sting spot or whatever, and all the top baby faces, the Road Warriors, etc.
I had never thought about this before this conversation here, but what if when Paulie and the original Midnight attack you and the Express in the studio, what if Bubba had turned also and gone with Paulie and Dennis and Randy?
It would have killed him deader than 4 o'clock because they were about to bury our angle, so he would have been involved. when they threw all that dirt on top of us, he would have been covered up with it.